Hey guys, I'm Elizabeth McCravey, a website designer and business coach for entrepreneurs and your host for the Breakthrough Brand podcast, the show that's all about pulling back the curtain on how to actually build a successful business. I don't skim the surface around here. If you want a deep dive into the nitty-gritty details of what it takes to run a successful business and stand out in a crowd, you're in the right place. After creating a multiple six-figure-a-year website design business in my 20s, I'm ready to share everything I've learned and everything I'm still learning because I believe the keys to building a thriving business should never be a secret. Here you'll find episodes that are actionable, direct, and fun, like friends chatting business over coffee, and a fresh, honest take on the reality of being an entrepreneur. If you're ready to master online marketing, branding, website design, mindset, and business strategy, then this is the podcast for you. It's time to build your breakthrough brand. Let's do this. We've all heard the advice, stop trading time for money. And I absolutely agree with that. And today we're actually talking about the way that you can do the opposite. So the ways you can trade in your money to get more time back in your life and in your business. So ways you can automate things, get help, set up systems, and so much more so you can actually have time back to do the things you really love. And the majority of these 7 things are things I personally do right now, but the last few are ones I don't do, but I could and think you totally could as well. So I wanted to include them. And as a note, before we get into the 7 things, when you get more time back by doing these things, it does not have to be productive time for it to be worth it. I think sometimes when we aren't doing it all ourselves and we're using systems like what I'm about to share, we might feel like in order for it to be quote unquote worth it, we need to be working and making more money with that time back. Like, if you're getting help doing something, which again, you'll see these are all the examples I'm about to share, but if you're getting help with that thing, then you shouldn't be just reading a book. You shouldn't be watching Netflix while that thing's happening. And I just want to say that's so not true. You watching Netflix on the couch with your time back is okay and totally worth it if that's something you want to spend your time doing, which I know I love sitting on the couch watching Netflix. So not everything, not even slightly everything should be about building your business and getting more time back to put more energy into it. We want to put time back into our lives and into those other areas outside of our business. So let's get some time back and let's dive into these 7 ways. All right, the first way to use your money to get your time back, these are in no particular order. And a lot of these you'll notice actually relate more to your personal life than they do to running a business. So the first one, ditch the grocery store and get your groceries delivered to you. So this is probably my personal favorite way. We have been using grocery delivery consistently for probably about 2 years now, maybe a little longer than that. So I rarely go into grocery stores unless I'm just like running in to grab something quick, which obviously does happen, but I'm not like, I literally cannot remember the last time that I went in and I'm like, this week's groceries, I'm buying everything right now as I shop. So every time I get groceries delivered and I place the order and I watch on the app as the shopper goes through the store and buys stuff from my list, and sometimes, we'll chat because like something's out and they're like, okay, what do you want instead? I always feel so grateful for that time back. Like it varies so much what I'm doing with that time because again, this has been like 2 years now of my life of not buying groceries. But as that's happening, I'm always like so grateful for whatever the thing I'm doing with that time because I don't like grocery shopping. I really love meal planning and I love cooking and I certainly love food, but I hate grocery shopping. So like getting that thing done by someone else using money, because it is something you have to pay extra for to get that time back, is absolutely worth it to me. So when someone else is shopping for me, I always feel the benefits of that time back, whether it's time I spend working, chilling at home, sometimes at the gym, sometimes at church, because we often do our grocery delivery on Sundays. So I'll order it before we leave for church and then we'll get home from church and then it's like, okay, here's all of our groceries ready to go. So I always feel the benefit of that time back. And just to get a little more specific on this one, if you're thinking like, okay, like I've resisted trying this, but like I totally should. We use Instacart. They deliver it straight to your door. I used to do grocery pickup through Kroger before I found Instacart. So much better than picking up because when you pick up, you still have to drive. You have to wait however long. Like they don't necessarily bring it out that quick. And some of the communication's harder. but I really like the way the Instacart app is set up because it like you chat with the person. If there's anything that needs to be subbed, you can add more things to your order right up, like literally while the person's shopping, you can add more to your order. So it's definitely worth trying for yourself if you haven't before. And it does take a little bit of time to learn a new system. So you might be like, I'm just set in my ways. I'm used to doing this one way, but give it a try. And I think you'll be hooked. And if you do want to get, I think it's like $10 off your first order, ElizabethMcCravy.com/Instacart will redirect you to a page with that. I'm not like an affiliate of Instacart. That's just like the one they give everyone within the app. So I don't know how many more of those I have to give out, but like definitely go try to use that and you can get $10 off. But some sort of grocery delivery. I know Amazon does one too that a lot of my friends love. But yeah, that's the first one. All right, the second way, set up subscribe and save for items you need on a recurring basis. So subscribe and save on Amazon has been a game changer for me in 2021. I don't think I was doing this prior to that. I feel like it really got bigger this year in particular, but basically what you do, you set up subscriptions at any increment. Could be every week you get something, could be as far as every year you get something for any items that you frequently use. And they just show up at your house on your delivery date once a month, or like the delivery happens once a month typically, but like let's say you have something set to every 3 months, and every 3 months that thing will be in the delivery, and so on and so forth. And it's amazing because you don't have to remember to buy the item and order more when you run out of it. It's just done. It just shows up for you, and you can save up to 15% on items when you are getting enough things in each delivery box. And of course, all this could change in the future, but that's at least how it is right now. And what I did with this, so I tried a few different brands of things on Amazon to see like, okay, what brands do we like? And then when I would place those orders and run out, I was figuring out, just looking in like my Amazon cart, okay, like how long did it take us to go through that item? And then when I found the item I liked, I set up the subscription based on that. So to tell you a few things we use subscribe and save for. So we have it for toilet paper, paper towels, vitamins, toothpaste, Ziploc bags, contact solution, laundry detergent, dish detergent, and some other things. I think trash cans, maybe trash bags rather. And we'll probably keep adding more stuff to it. It's all stuff that you're going to buy it all anyway. Maybe you're buying it at the grocery store when you do the thing I was talking about in tip 1 of like going in and grocery shopping. But it's nice to just free it from your mind to have to remember to do it. So you're not having to constantly be like, oh no, we're out of toilet paper. I got to remember to go buy that. Or, oh no, my toothpaste is low and now all of a sudden I'm just out. You don't have to remember it. And a nice thing too, anytime you don't need the item, you can pause it or skip that subscription round. So just as a note, because I feel like that was important for me, like you're not locked into like permanently agreeing to buy this thing every month. So for me, every month I get an email from Amazon. It's like, hey, your subscribe and save is coming up. Like look through the list. And then it's like, see if you don't want anything this month. And so I get the email, I look through the list. And then if there's something I don't want that particular month, I just mark it of like, okay, I don't want to like get that month. And if you're curious, if you want to see some of the stuff from my own, like subscribe and save, go to ElizabethMcCravy.com/Amazon. That's like my Amazon storefront. And you can like see some of the stuff we're getting that's set up that way. But seriously, like just about anything now you can set up subscribe and save with. They have it really where like even products where it's like, why would you subscribe to this? Like they have that option. But anyway, that's a huge way to save time. That again, you set it up once, you set up the system, and then it's locked in and you just have to like check on it a little bit once a month. Okay, the third way, get help with cleaning your house. So for me and Adam, we are not people who have someone coming to clean every week or even every other week. At least right now, at the time recording this, I'm actually not sure when this episode is going to air. So it might be after our baby's already here, but I haven't decided yet. But right now I'm still very pregnant. And so we have a baby on the way, but like no big family of kids running around the house. So we just don't need like a weekly cleaning or every other week. We clean the house ourselves. We don't need professional cleaning that way, but we do once a quarter, or sometimes even a little more frequently than that, we have a professional come and deep clean the house. And I think once our son gets here, it'll probably be a little more frequently that we're doing that. But having help in that area is such a huge time saver. And at least in my case, another pro of doing it is that the people who we have come to clean do it so much better than I could. Even if it's like, Elizabeth, you have all day to clean your house right now, they would still do better in like the 3 hours they do it than I would do it myself. And the women who come to clean our house are seriously just amazing at what they do. They're so detailed, they're so helpful, they're kind, and I like supporting their business by getting my house cleaned. So anyway, and my husband also likes cleaning. So basically, he likes doing a weekly cleaning every Sunday. He does I help sometimes more than others, but he'll vacuum the house and sweep and some things like that. And then I always help with the straightening aspect. He's doing more of the actual cleaning. And so we do that every week, but then we have the quarterly cleaning too. And then between those two things, our house stays pretty fresh. And that's time that neither of us are having to spend scrubbing the floors, dusting things to get them all perfect, cleaning out things like the oven and microwave, the sink really well. So those kind of things that house cleaners just do so amazing at. So anyway, that's the third idea. And I'm sure many of you guys are already doing this one, but if you haven't, if you feel like, okay, I'm spending so much time cleaning my house every week, maybe you are someone who has a large family that you're cleaning up after, what could you do with that time back? Maybe it's more time with your kids. Maybe it's more time to build your business. Maybe it's more time to read. I mean, whatever it is, could absolutely be worth it to you. So as I'm going through all these, I just want you to really consider if it's something you're not doing and your automatic mental response to hearing me say that, it's oh, I couldn't do that because of X, Y, and Z. Maybe consider, how could you make it work in your life? How could you make it work for your business and that sort of thing? Interrupting this episode with a suggestion for the small business owners listening. Ever wonder what you should do for healthcare when you and your spouse are both self-employed, so there's no work-provided health insurance to participate in? Well, when my husband Adam joined me in the entrepreneurial job space over 4 years ago, we joined Christian Healthcare Ministries instead of getting traditional health insurance. And it was the best decision for us, especially in these years of growing and raising a family while also running multiple businesses. CHM is a health cost-sharing ministry and is a faith-based alternative to health insurance. We did tons of research before choosing CHM, and if you know me and Adam, you know we are all about doing the math when making big or small financial decisions. And even though it's not insurance, CHM shares 100% of eligible medical bills, which is more than the typical 70 or 80% of medical bills paid for by insurance companies. All sharing is determined by the CHM guidelines, which you can check out before and after joining. And for the mamas and mamas to be listening, you truly cannot find a better healthcare option for maternity care. I had a vaginal delivery and a C-section and birth center care and hospital care between my 2 pregnancies and births, and it was all 100% shared for. And outside of birth, we've had our share of emergency room visits and procedures as a family, and those costs were all shared by members at Christian Healthcare Ministries, leaving us only paying our monthly contribution. CHM is less expensive month to month than insurance, and because there's no network, you can choose your care with whichever providers best fit your family. I seriously just cannot recommend Christian Healthcare Ministries enough. You've got to check them out. Go to elizabethmccravy.com/CHM for more information. Also putting that link in the show notes, elizabethmccravy.com/CHM. Now back to the episode. All right, so on to number 4. Number 4 is read books and buy courses from people who have already done the thing, whatever that thing is, to save you time for figuring it out yourself. So this is an ultimate business time saver, really. So you can buy someone else's years of experience or their research and expertise on a topic, whatever it is, and you are buying that for them basically. When you are buying a course, membership programs can fall into this, masterminds can fall into this, and of course, books. And it does take time, of course, to do the course, of course, or to read the book, but more time if you were to just decide okay, there's an opportunity for me to learn from this person, but instead of learning from them, I'm just going to figure it all out for myself from scratch, Googling everything. You could totally do that, but sometimes it is more beneficial to just be hey, I'm going to read this person's book, or they're saying they're teaching this thing that they figured out. I want to learn how to do that. I'm going to learn how to do it from their book, or I'm going to learn how to do it from their course or their mastermind or whatever it is. So this is one that literally it's like buying the time that they spent learning how to do it and propelling yourself forward faster. So this one's a favorite for me. And I love going to the experts, whether that's for like a course or just a book on like everything from business stuff to faith to parenting and pregnancy. Like I want the people who have been there and done that to save me the time of figuring it out alone with no roadmap. So I really love learning education. So for me, I'm someone who does like to buy courses and books and all the things. This one's a huge one for me that I would say is a way I've saved time, and I enjoy the time being saved because I enjoy, like, I'm saving time on like propelling my business or whatever it is forward faster, but I also really like learning. It's a win in many ways. So that's number 4. All right, number 5 is to utilize meal kit delivery services. So some of these services are trying to help you like become a chef basically, and the recipes can be really complicated and you're more so buying the experience of cooking. And I don't think those actually save you much time, at least in my experience, but they are fun and they do save brain power and like coming up with what to cook and what to eat. But buying the things that are literally pre-made and delivered meals, like fresh to frozen casseroles that you just pop in the oven and things like that, really are amazing time savers. And depending on where you live, there might be local companies that offer this. I know there are so many amazing local ones to Nashville where I live. And then we have plenty of bakeries and restaurants that do things like the pre-made casseroles or other, I'm using the word casserole. There's other like, do you have pre-made like baked pastas or whatever and things like that. And those are incredibly useful as well. So if you're someone who doesn't really enjoy cooking or you don't like having to plan your meals, utilizing a meal delivery service would be perfect for you. And there's a lot that are really health focused, so many options. And so for me, this is one that I don't really do, at least not often, because I actually do like cooking and I like planning our meals. But when baby boy gets here, I certainly will be doing some of this meal delivery stuff, and also be doing like a bunch of freezer prep meals and things like that so that I can have the time back that I would be spending cooking and planning meals instead to spend with our son. So that's a great one. Another thing that falls into this category that we all know about and you've probably used 1,000 times, especially in 2020 when everything was so crazy with eating out, but things like Uber Eats, Grubhub, Postmates, those all save time by not having to drive to the restaurant, but having it brought to you. And so you're paying whatever the fees are, whatever the upcharge is to have that happen. And in a lot of cases, that can feel like a great way to trade your money to get your time back. So super good one there. So utilizing meal kit delivery services. All right, number 6, having a set it and forget it style yard care service for your home. Like I said, guys, most of these are like more personal things, but these all get you time back in your business as well. So anyway, this is one we don't do, but we kind of do, but I think it's a brilliant way to save time and energy by trading your money for your time back. If lawn care isn't something you want to be doing, isn't something your roommates or partner or spouse want to be doing, it's a great way to get that time back. So one of my neighbors does this really well, which is what made me like think to add it to this list. As a working from home gal, I see it play out every week from my office window, but literally at the same time, same day, every week, they have a company come and mow the yard. And it does, they do other care to it too, but they're like mowing it, weed eating. I don't even know what all they do, but they do a lot of stuff. And I see it happen every week. And I actually know like what time and day they're coming. So I'm like, I need to not record a podcast during that time because it'll be so loud that like it picks up from my office window. But anyway, but for this, they set it up once probably, and then they were able to just forget about it. Like they're of course paying the company and communicating and things, but it's like it's set up, it's automated, they have someone coming to help. And I think that's awesome. And so like, if that is something where you're like, oh, like I could use that, like look up in your area, like what are options for that and see what you could utilize. To share what me and Adam do here, Adam does most of our lawn work, but when he doesn't, like when he can't for whatever reason, we have someone else who comes to mow. And then we have an automated-ish, like lawn service, but that is the right word for it, that comes and treats our grass once a month. And then another one that treats our yard for bugs like wasps and yellow jackets and stuff once a month. Adam is actually seriously allergic to stings from things like yellow jackets and wasps and bees. And we used to have a huge yellow jacket problem. And that led him, like literally last year around this time when he was mowing the yard, he wound up in the emergency room from a sting that caused him to go to anaphylactic shock. And it was really scary and a big deal. So since then, getting that treated has been a month, but that's something like we paid for up front. And it's like, we know they're going to come, they come treat it, and it's done. It's taken care of. We don't have to like think about it or worry about it. So that's a really basic one. And you probably already thought about it. But if you do feel like you or someone else in your family is spending too much time doing lawn care, that you're not able to relax with your family or work on your business or take time to do things for yourself, take time to do this, to get help with this so you can get your time back, and it'll be so worth it. All right, and now we are at number 7. This final one is one I don't do in any capacity right now, but is something that has been on my mind a lot. And I think this one would be so beneficial for so many of you listening. So that is having childcare and or a personal assistant. So childcare is a common one, right? Like that's such a common one that we hear people like spending money on to get time back in other areas, like time to go work or whatever it is. And I feel like personal assistants, though, are less common and might feel too quote unquote fancy for most of us. And I wish I could remember who said it because I really want to give them credit. But like a while back at some point during this pregnancy, I was listening to a podcast where a mom who's also a business owner, she was talking and she was sharing how she used to have a nanny for her kids so that she could work. But then she realized when she wasn't working, instead of just getting to hang out with her kids and her husband and like living life as a mother, really, she was stuck running errands, doing laundry, cleaning her house, cooking, and all of those kinds of things to take care of the family, but wasn't actually getting time back with them. And so she kind of switched to like a personal assistant instead, who like did a little bit of childcare, but more of the goal was being a personal assistant. I think she had older kids as well. But like, it was pretty eye-opening to me. And as someone who doesn't have kids yet, but will soon, maybe that whole sentiment is obvious to the rest of you who do have children, but it was like new and interesting with like, oh yeah, like we hire someone to take care of the kids, but then like what, like, are we the ones left doing all the things to where then you aren't getting to spend as much time with your kids? So perhaps someone who can help with childcare and the other things you do in mom mode, like laundry, dishes, errands, cooking, cleaning, all of that kind of stuff, I think would be so helpful and such a great way to get time back to do things that are more important to you outside of your business and even hours back within your business. So for us, when our son gets here, we eventually will be having childcare of sorts. I still have not gotten that completely figured out, and I don't feel like in a huge rush around it. But I also do find myself being very interested in having help in the sense from someone who will come and help with stuff around the house and pesky work errands that I never seem to get to, or I get to and they feel like they just take so much time. And so just to tell you guys, in case you're thinking like, okay, a personal assistant sounds like something that would be helpful to me, or childcare or whatever. For me, as I work towards figuring this out, and maybe I'll do a podcast on this when I do figure it out, because I do think this is something I will figure out hopefully this year, if not early next year, and like hire for. But I have a note in my phone, just on the Notes app, where anytime I do something that I could and would like to have someone else's help with, I type in what the thing was and I date it. And that way I have a good resource for like how many hours this type of thing would be if I were to hire, like if I were to make a job posting for this, like what kind of things would be on the job posting? How many hours would it be? Is it something that could be like every Friday, this person is helping me for this many hours and doing this stuff, and then that's it? Or is it something where you need it more days a week? That sort of thing. So I have just been tracking that and then trying to pay attention so that when the time comes, I'll know. And then, the same sort of thing as we do eventually think about childcare of like, okay, what would be helpful? What wouldn't be? How much time do I need back to work on my business that Adam can't help with, and all of that kind of stuff. So anyway, that one is one I don't have as much figured out thoughts on, but I do feel like, oh my gosh, that is something that would be so helpful and such a great way to get more time back. Because again, it's not all about like working as much as possible. We want time back to enjoy our lives and to be present with the people we love and all of that wonderful stuff. So anyway, that is it. 7 ways that you can use your money to get more time back in your life. And I hope that you'll consider some of these. Okay, like which ones can I add in? Which ones could I like turn it up a notch on and get more help with? Maybe if you do have a spouse who's making some of these like decisions with you, maybe tell them to listen to this episode so y'all can like think through these things together. But anyway, I hope this was helpful. Let me know on Instagram. Send me a DM or tag me on your stories, or even write a review for this podcast and tell me if any of these 7 ways are something you're going to try out. All right, that is it, friends. And I'll be back next week with another episode. Hey, thanks for listening to the podcast today and for staying until the end. I appreciate you being here. And if you enjoyed this episode, then I want to invite you to check out my online course and coaching program for designers, Booked Out Designer. In this program, I teach you how to build a successful in-demand booked out business as a designer. You'll learn everything from the exact experience I take my clients through to things like figuring out your niche, mastering discovery calls, pricing your services for profit, creating contracts that will not cause you legal troubles, and my exact social media strategies to book clients. You even get to watch recordings of me in actual meetings with my actual clients so you can really learn through what you're seeing. We take things you're learning on this podcast and so many topics I never even cover on this show and deep dive into them. So in addition to the amazing course, the course is 9 modules of teaching with over 90 lessons. You get group coaching calls with me and access to an exclusive Facebook community of designers just like you. And fun fact, this isn't one of those kind of Facebook groups where the founder never comments on posts or you never see them in there. You'll find me in there all the time, ready to help you out with any business question you have. So to get info on the course and to see when the doors will be opening again, head to elizabethmccravy.com/BOD, short for Booked Out Designer. I hope to be able to coach you and teach you inside of the course soon. And don't forget that you can subscribe to this podcast on Apple Podcasts or wherever you're listening so that you never miss an episode. And a great way to support the show is to leave a rating and review, share it with a friend, share it on social media. All of that will help get the word out. All right, I'll see you again next week.